Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another round of Rush Racing League. And this time we are here in Zandvoort. Apologies for the graphic mishap. It is not a reserve program. We have done that very recently. So we are now doing Div 1 here in the penultimate round of the season. So it's going to be a fantastic time here tonight. Zandvoort is a really fun track, really tricky, really slippery. And we're going to go ahead and just get things rocking and rolling here. As we're just going to jump straight on into the action here in the Netherlands. The championship picture is as follows. There are 5 drivers who are still mathematically in this fight. McJammy, Aiden is Raiden, Fat Cat, Pop Top, and JF7. They're all separated by 9 points. If any of these drivers extend that gap to about 23 or more points, they will become champion of the world here in Rush Racing League. And I mean, being a Div 1 champion is, I mean, there's not much. Actually, there really is nothing better that a singular driver can achieve here in Rush Racing League. My name is Patrick Coleman, aka Ruckus, and bringing you this penultimate round of the Div 1 Championship. Alongside me here tonight is Phoenix. How you doing today, mate?
Very good. I'm doing well. Surprising, I found out I was doing this all of about, I want to say 15 minutes ago. You don't normally find out you're doing gigs that late, but oh well. I was online, I was free, and I was available, so I'm here for Div One for the first time.
Yeah, it should be a good time here tonight. This track, I mean, well, I recently covered this track, and you've recently raced on this racetrack here in the reserve program a couple of nights ago. So this track should be relatively fresh. Let me go ahead and just talk to you guys about Zandvoort here for a bit. Zandvoort is a really fun track. It is a track that I'm actually quite sad is dipping after the 2026 Formula One season. It's got about 14 corners. It's been around for quite some time through various different layout changes. So it's a tricky track. It's it's almost Monaco-esque, but it's a lot more. I would like to think of it more of as a roller coaster of a racetrack. You can get some overtakes on some parts of the track. Turn one is an interesting one because you can actually overtake around the outside pretty convincingly, just because of the way that turn two lines up. And then you can even get some moves on the outside of turn number three. And then of course you got the 11 inches of banking in turn, or sorry, 11 degrees of banking in turn 3, as Andre will complete his first laps here. And then you got the massive, almost Indy-like section of the final turn 14. One of the only DRS zones you get in a corner, which is a very interesting one here about this track. Andre's going to come across the line. It's a 109.029 to kick things off. So Phoenix, any bold predictions here tonight as quality gets underway?
You got that question first. I don't know. I mean, I've watched a lot of Div 1 recently, but then also haven't been paying too much attention. I mean, I
Oh, and
know
that's a
Ryan Adair is.
spin from Pop Top. He has spun it. Sorry to cut you off there, but he spun coming out of turn 14. We saw a good amount of that in the reserve program where drivers in that turn 14 complex have just ended up hitting the wall. So, oh, tricky stuff.
I
Anyways,
mean,
back to you.
I almost, I almost straight lined someone who'd been in that section of corners as well. I'm not quite sure how many are reserving. I know Brian is reserving up, or Lamb is reserving up from Div 2. He's, I think he did well last week, and slow moving car. I think that's just a car letting someone past. It's a slow moving, I think, Haas. Anyway, I want to. I mean, Aiden's rating has gotten P3, I think, a few times. I remember in Baku, I think he got it over the line or got P2, one of them. He's been quite well, so I think he will take the fight right until Silverstone.
Yeah, so just for there's a few drivers reserving up tonight here. So Katusha in the Williams, he's reserving up for Alpine here tonight. Alpine pretty much all but confirmed to be the overall champions as of right now. Mercedes had a bit of a tricky week last week, so I know they're gonna want to try to bounce back for the final 2 rounds of the season. Actually, both Alpines are reserving up tonight. So Zachboy is also reserving in for Haas, or Zach's user. Fat Cat reserving in for Red Bull. Kenworth reserving for Ferrari. Zombie reserving for Mercedes. Flubber reserving for Sauber. And of course the aforementioned Ryan Adair reserving up for Ferrari. So quite a few reserves here tonight in Div 1. Although Ryan Ryan Adair is pretty much already a Div 1 driver. Let's face it. I mean, he's reserved up so many times for Div 1 this season. I think as a reserve driver, I think he's got more points than a fair chunk of the Div 1 regulars, I would say. I'm going to fact check that because that doesn't sound like it'd be correct. But I think Ryan Adair's got. Yeah, so Ryan Adair. Okay, so here's a crazy fact. Ryan Adair has only 7 less points than Campbell Adams.
Oh, okay,
He's ahead
that
of
that.
Flubber. He's ahead of Andre. He's ahead of M. John and Chandler. So he's ahead of. And he's also ahead of Swift. So in terms of full-time drivers, he is ahead of 4 of them. Oh, and actually, as soon as I turn off of Ryan for POV, he's had a moment. He spun it! Coming out of turn 7, I think that is. Whoo boy! It's already getting dramatic here in the opening stages of
Yeah,
qualifier.
yeah. I am back now. I don't know. I think my microphone had a slight mishap, but tech issues. I would rather my microphone than EA, as all but Pop Top Bongo has set a time here this evening.
Yeah, so Pop Top is now making his way through. He's one of the drivers still within a chance of getting that drivers championship here. So this is gonna be pardon me. It's gonna be a really fun title fight here. Honestly, my bold prediction, is that this title is going all the way to Silverstone. There's no way that this championship is decided here tonight. So I will have my calculator ready because oh boy, it's gonna go down to Silverstone.
Yeah, unless a generational bottle happens from 4 out of the 5 top 5 drivers in the championship standings. Otherwise, it will be a fight till the final lap of the final race of the season.
And that's something that you always like, right? You always want a title fight to come down to the wire. I mean, we saw Abu Dhabi 2025 this season, although granted, not not even remotely controversial like Abu Dhabi 2021 was, but the title came down to the final
Oh,
Grand Prix of the season, and there
was
was not a lot of
20.
points separating the drivers. So you really gotta go for it here. And honestly, I think there's a very good chance that the title actually remains a five-way fight going into Silverstone because there's only 9 points separating our top 5 drivers, which is insane to think about. So I mean, I'm gonna just double check, but I think everybody who is in the championship fight is actually still here and present. So let me see. Yeah, so McJamie is here. Aiden is Raiden is here. Fat Cat is here. Pop Top is here. Yeah, and JF7 is here. So all of our championship protagonists are in the lobby and racing here tonight. So I think we have all the ingredients for a cinematic masterclass here in the Netherlands.
Yeah, and as I've learnt from watching Div 1, it tends to be very clean, but it can get very punchy and very fighty very quickly. There can be action and moves being made out of seemingly thin air.
Yeah, especially, and I mean that fact. It's a very strong fact. I mean, if you've watched Div 1 for any length of time, you can tell that it's a clean division, but they can also get pretty scrappy at times as well. They can really just go no holds barred, extreme rules, just throw everything at your rival. And especially now that there's 2 rounds left of the championship, and the championship is very likely gonna go to Silverstone with only 9 points separating. We might lose one driver out of this championship fight. We might lose one driver. That's about it, I believe. So, and there's a good chance that there's a few championships that could be decided in here in Zandvoort, a few drivers championships, but this one, I mean, mathematically yes. If four people DNF, or for the championship protagonist DNF, then yes, the title fight is going to be done and dusted. However, I just don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, look how competitive it already is. I mean, the two Red Bulls are looking like the class of the field at the moment, just separated by 6 thousandths of a second here, Phoenix.
Wow, I didn't even notice how close that top had gotten. With both of the Red Bulls currently at the top with about 6 minutes to go, will that stay? Who knows? As they'll be coming in from their second run and filtering in and then start to filter out for their
Oh,
final run. Or as
Andre, what did that pit marker ever do to you, bud?
maybe he had some emotions he needed to get out for the race.
I guess. But
So I was saying
yes,
is they'll start to
go ahead.
filter in from their second runs or their first runs, depending who they are. And then I know you like to call it rush hour.
You know me so well at this point, Phoenix. And yes, it is rush hour coming up here very, very shortly. And that means for those of you who may be new, well, first of all, welcome aboard. We welcome you guys with open arms here. You picked a pretty good time to pop on in. I mean, Div 1, Zandvoort, this was going to be a really good race anyway, even if the title wasn't still up for grabs. And the title is very much still up for grabs here. 5 drivers within the realm of possibility to win the championship on the penultimate round, and there's only 9 points separating P1 to P5. So this could be a really spectacular event as drivers get ready for their final runs here. But for those of you who may be new here, Rush Hour is the nickname I kind of gave the final about 2 to 3 minutes of qualifying, because it's like rush hour traffic, at least here in the States. I'm American, so before anyone asks,
Don't
yes, it
worry,
is the righteous
it
hours of almost 6 a.m. here. So rush hour is it's a very heavy traffic time, and this track will get pretty packed with cars.
yeah, and don't worry, rush hour happens where I am too. It's annoying. It can make my 30-minute trip home into there's a Ferrari in a wall of Ryan's spun it in
Oh,
sector 2 and almost gets taken over. Ryan, can you please let me keep my sanity this evening? That would be greatly appreciated.
XD Lamb having a bit of a moment there in his Ferrari, the Ferrari team principal having he might actually have rear wing damage at this point. Maybe. I don't know. If he has rear wing damage then he is more cooked than a $2 steak. That is yeah, getting okay, so getting front wing damage is manageable because you can just swap out the front wing. You can't really do that with a rear wing here because there's so many different hydraulic bits that are connected to it. So, oh, he's just gonna fire on into the pits. You do not get a speeding in the pit lane penalty for qualifying, which is pretty funny, I would say. You'll have, and coming back to the rush hour topic, you'll have some drivers who come out pretty early on to try to avoid that traffic, like trying to leave at before 4 p.m. at least. That's the time that it would be here before, like right before rush hour picks up. But yeah, you want to get out at least a little bit early to try to get a good clean lap in before the floodgates are open and then everybody just rushes out.
Yeah, and as I think in rush hour, we could see one of the other cars spoil the Red Bull 1-2 party that they've got going on, as now the drivers are starting to filter out for rush hour.
That is actually a pretty reasonable shout, honestly. Especially because there are some extremely rapid drivers here on the day. So I think if I were to make a guess on who I think could be splitting this Red Bull party, I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Another one, which this one's probably gonna be a bit bolder. I think it's gonna be either Pop Top or JDI or even Aiden. It's gonna be one of those three that splits the Red Bull party. Aiden, I think probably like at least just looking based on lap times right now, I think Aiden probably has the best shot of splitting the Red Bulls, but I mean it'll be interesting to see. I mean it could be somebody completely different too. We could see one of the reserves split it. Like we could maybe see Vettel split the Red Bulls. Maybe if he gets a really strong lap here, we could see you know we could see Haas, a team that honestly desperately needs the points. We could just see so much stuff happening.
Yeah, so all it's a kick in the wall. So that's Flubber's qualifying basically done and dusted. Went too deep into corner 1, has got that front wing damage. So that's his qualifying all done and dusted, as Fat Cat has retired from the session. But not what Flubber would have wanted here, but has his banker did get him that P3 position here.
As qualifying is, the timer said 0. Pop Top he'll be a P8, which is not ideal for his championship chances. Dito in a P9. And then a few other drivers are finishing. JDI also not really improving there. Aiden is rated, he won't be getting a shot to improve. So I don't think anybody is going to spoil that Red Bull 1-2.
They haven't got very long left to spoil it, as some of the people in the mid pack are shuffling around. Ooh, Zombie jumps up into P3. Can anyone else spoil the party? Aiden straight into the pit, so he can't spoil the party. Flubber's got wing, and I was wrong. Because that is qualifying all done and dusted, and it will be a Red Bull 1-2.
Yeah, that is a very, very good showing from the Red Bulls. I mean, being only 6 tenths shy of each other. Both of which are in the title fight, by the way. Both Red Bull drivers here tonight are in a title fight for position. McJeremy currently the championship leader here in the division. Fat Cat is only 6 points behind. So, I mean, this one is going to be a very tantalizing prospect here. But we're going to go ahead and run through your championship, or sorry, I wish yours your championship standings at the moment. It is going to be your qualifying results here. Fat Cat ahead of McJeremy, Zombie, Flubber, Aina's Raiden, JDI, Kenworth, Pop Top, Dito, Swith, and then Katusha, Zax, Ryan M. John, Andre, and Vettel rounding out the field. A tricky one for Alpine, although Alpine is running on a full reserve team here for Div 1 as we go ahead and get ready for the Grand Prix itself. So, just to kind of reiterate, um, I don't know about. Oh,
Ooh, that does not look very friendly. That sky looks a bit questionable. As for once, the stream loaded the sky before my game decided to lie me in. That we could see rain here.
A changeable condition Grand Prix is on the cards. I would love to see that, honestly. For those of you guys in chat, feel free to go ahead and drop your bold predictions. I'll read some of them out on stream as well as we get ready to go. My bold prediction is that I think we're still going to see a five-way title fight going into Silverstone. I do not think the championship is going to be decided here tonight. At most, we're going to lose one person from the title fight, and it'll be a fatal four-way going into the British Grand Prix next week. That is going to be my bold prediction. I still think that the title fight is going to go all the way for all five of these drivers. It's 2020, or it's 2010 all over again. So that is going to be my pick. Phoenix, any bold predictions before we get underway?
I'm not quite sure, but that curb coming into the final corner did catch quite a few people out in the reserve program, because if you catch it at the wrong angle, you can't turn off. You will end up in a wall. Whether your tyres are on your car or if your tyres have been dislocated, it's a different question. But we could see some people get stuck on that very annoying curb.
It's a lot like the curb in Jeddah that's around, I think, turn 7 or turn 8, I want to say. I call it a skate curb, because if you've played any of the skate games, you can grind on the rails. It's a pretty core mechanic, pretty easy mechanic at that, even though I still screwed up sometimes when I do play the newer skate, or at least when I did. But that curb is the same way as we get ready for 5 red lights on the gantry, and it is lights out and away we go here in the Netherlands. And we're going to see who's going to go ahead and get this one going. Fat Cat, McJammy. Here's the question though. Are we going to see Red Bull rules here in the Netherlands? It's Max Verstappen's home track, so it's almost like a home track for Red Bull via proxy. But look at this. We're seeing some pretty good scraps here for position. It's very narrow through most of this racing circuit, so you don't really see a lot of side-by-side too much. The car can barely even fit side-by-side. As I say, you don't see much side-by-side. Ryan Adair and Swith, two drivers from FST, are going to go ahead and go at it. The two stablemates are going to go ahead and fight almost two separate groups of two drivers going side-by-side, forming a four-square, essentially, as they go on through. The Red Bulls, well, actually, Fat Cat in particular, has led the field away, and he's got about 6/10 of a second to the good. There's two DRS zones. One is more useful than the other, and lap one's in the bugs. Oh, Ryan Adair, Zax, two reserves racing tonight, and they are racing hard here as we get through lap one.
Yeah, and Ryan Adair is the only one that has opted to start on the hard compound tyres, with the rest of the field on mediums. Oh,
It's getting dicey out here as we see. Guys, here's the thing about turn 1 and turn 3 are some of the most interesting corners on this racetrack because you can send them around the outside and it's a lot of times even a more optimal line to try to make it through the outside. Dirty air is going to be a really tricky one here at this Grand Prix as well, especially in Sector 2 as they continue to kind of just speed on around Zandvoort. On the Dutch coastline. There's a lot of sand here on the track as well, so we are not too dissimilar. We're it's not too far from the beach here in Zandvoort, so we get a good amount of that coastal wind as we see here. Riding on board now with Zombies, he's chasing down the two Red Bulls as the fastest laps start flying in at the moment. It's predicted to be a two-stop here in the Grand Prix. Oh, hello. Where did Flubber come from? Flubber just fires it around the outside. He gets that move done and dusted. The Sauber up into third.
That was unexpected, but I think it was maybe going around the outside of corner one, which is the main area for making those moves because it's wide enough to do so. Like pretty much the rest of the track, where if you go too wide, it starts to get a bit sketchy very quickly as they've all sort of, for now, settled in to the rhythm. Going around the bankings, using that curb, and going through the corners quite nicely.
Yeah, there is so much at stake here in the championship as the drivers are going to go ahead and continue to make their way through, and this is going to be a fantastic scrap that we're going to see here. Mick Jeremy going to go side by side, and he's going to look for a move, and Zombie also looks for a move onto Flubber. Neither move happens, so the top four remain as they are for the time being. But I feel like, so it's going to be a very interesting case because I feel like in the back of these drivers' minds, and I know they got the fancy telemetry stuff that we don't have access to, as Flubber is gonna, I thought he was looking for a move there. Oh, Zombie is just going way off there. He has sent it off into turn 7. He rejoins the track safely right in front of the Alpine. And actually considering the overalls, and there is yep, I have seen what the chat has been saying about the zombie lag, and oh boy, it's particularly rough at this stage.
Bad. Yeah, especially with Dito right behind him, suffering it because if you're behind a lagged car, you don't know if it's going to lag back onto you. And that game, knowing EA could have the lines of code, could have quite a lot of issue with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can find a clip of it on the internet. I haven't seen it here in Rush, but I know there's been clips of people lagging into cars and just dislocating their wheel and then just going right back at it. I know there's quite a few crazy lag-based incident clips that are out there. So McJammy's going to go ahead and try to close in now, and these two are still locked into a title fight. Only 6 points separating them. If this goes, hey, I just got to see who's got fastest lap real quick. Okay, so if this finishes like this, right, looking at the scoring system, I think that 6-point buffer in between them goes down to a single point. Let me double check. Yes.
Ooh.
So it drops down to a singular point between Fat Cat and McJammy. Granted, if neither one of them gets fastest lap or cleanest driver award. So
yeah,
that's why I'm saying that
this is a fight that they're going to take right until the end.
Yeah, even just from this 1-2 positioning, it's gonna get extremely crazy. So I think the only one who's really in any sort of danger of being dropped out of this championship fight is maybe Pop Top. Pop Top might be the only one, but even then, you gotta, because P7 still gets you 11 points. So I think he'll still be in within mathematical contention. I think the only way for anybody to get dropped out of mathematical contention who's still eligible here tonight is if I think it's if you like DNF. If one of those drivers DNFs, then that is really your only chance to really get dropped out of this title fight here.
Yeah, and DNFing, it's always unfortunate, but
Oh,
I
change for the
think all
lead.
but one of.
It is Mick Jeremy starting to catch off there. Mick Jeremy's now in the lead, and it's still a Red Bull 1-2. And that title gap, now the title pendulum, I should say, swings the other direction.
As Vettel and Mayan are going too wide into every. And there we go. Someone's M plate's gone flying because they have
Ooh,
decided to go to. Whoa, 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 whoa. What?
that is a VSC, and
Oh,
Ryan Adair
that's
does not have a front wing.
Ryan. Oh, and Zombie gets a 10-second penalty for ignoring a yellow flag. So that race, I don't know what happened. I was about two cars going wide. I saw an M plate going flying, going, there you go, that's why you don't go too wide. You're gonna get damage. But nope. And then Ryan must have binned it
Oh,
somewhere
holy.
and said, I don't feel like having my front wing anymore.
Yeah, I think yeah, Zombie he lagged from like P4 all the way back down to P6. So, oh,
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
all right, yeah, that is.
This is bad.
He's now in
Oh,
P2.
this is bad.
So yeah, that definitely should be a he should definitely get invited. Oh,
Oh, whoa.
yeah,
He's
that
in the pits.
that connectivity. Yeah, I was about to
And
say
he's retired.
he needs to jump in and retire that car. Yeah, that's a black flag, 100%.
Yep, he's retired from the session in the pits. But
Yeah.
that car started. You couldn't really see it too much at the start, but you could really tell under that VSC.
Oh yeah.
As obviously a few cars do go into the pits, but to get a cheaper pit stop. Oh no, about half the grid is. There was quite a few with wing damage, so that might be why the bottom few have decided to pit.
Yeah,
No,
and I mean,
only Ryan Adair decided to pit for a new front wing. The rest went from the medium compound onto the hard compound tyres.
yeah, it doesn't look like anybody else that's pitted still has wing damage if they had wing damage initially. So I think it's just part of the strategy for these guys. This track can be a two-stop quite often, so I mean we saw that. I forget who it was in the reserve program. Somebody made a set of mediums last over 20 laps in the reserve program. Yeah, so that's zombie again. So
Whoa.
unfortunate there because we know zombies
20.
got pace.
I mean, I was struggling when I took my hard tyres 15 laps, let alone a set of mediums over 20.
Yeah, exactly. So Ryan Adair now.
And
He's going to try to catch up back to the pack as we pretty much have two split grids here. As it is still going to be Mick Jeremy, championship leader, leading the field here as well, looking to extend that championship gap by another couple of points. I think it's going to be about a 7-point swing in the favor of Mick Jeremy at this stage. So, not quite enough to seal the deal, but enough to really bring an impact in as Fat Cat. And he's going to actually, he's fallen a bit back from Big Jeremy. I don't know if that's just dirty air doing its thing or what's happening here. I think the Red Bulls. I mean, if I was the Red Bull TP, unless it was like the final round of the championship, I'd let the Red Bulls fight. Honestly, um, because right now they're both either way, unless one of them DNFs, they're both gonna be in championship contention until the end. So we'll just kind of see if Fat Cat can really try to apply the pressure. Aiden's Raiden certainly is going to try to. He's another driver. He's the driver that's currently P2 in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. So he's really going to want to just turn on the afterburners and try to get after this championship leader here. And the two of the drivers in contention for this championship, they're going to go for it.
At this stage, it could be a go big or go home. If it's a choice between do I make this move or do I not, that move could be the difference between winning the championship and losing the championship.
Yeah, to make things even crazier, Phoenix, there is only 2 points in between Aiden Raiden and McJammy as the Red Bulls will trade positions again. They're going to save the battling for the final lap, I'm going to assume. So at this stage, it'll be a, well, technically it's a Red Bull in reserve, but it will be all but a Red Bull 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship as well. Welcome back 2023 to Red Bulls at top of the driver standings. And I think the actual constructor standings as well. Take a look at that real quick here. Actually, no, Mercedes. Mercedes pretty much all but has that championship locked up, so.
Yeah. I had something to say. I've completely forgotten it per normal, but now Fat Cat is, I want to say, zooming away. But the top few do seem to be evenly spaced with a little bit of a bigger gap down to P4. And then the rest of them, then you've got another group of about 4 or 5 drivers bunched together. Then you've got a massive gap to the next few small packs of drivers, as the top 3 have now broken away, really, from the rest of the field, as 2 people get a speeding in the pit lane penalty already, with it being JDI and Kenworth.
That's rough for JDI because he is one of the drivers still within championship contention here in Div 1. That is rough there for the Sauber. As we are about a third of the way through the Dutch Grand Prix here, the penultimate round of the season here in season numero 10. And this is going to be, I mean, this is probably it's the highest division and also the closest title fight here in Rush. So this is going to be a fantastic battle. Gonna love to see how everything pans out. Trying to think of Div 3 is, I think Div 3 is officially done. I think Breadman's got that title pretty much in wraps. Because I don't think the penalties changed much of anything there. Ooh, Div.
No, I will.
Div 4 is gonna be good. Div 4 is that's a 10-point swing, so that one's gonna be that's gonna be a good fight. And actually, it's
Div.
Good.
Div 3 is done and dusted. The only division to have their champion driver, not necessarily the constructors, already secured.
Yeah, Div 4 is pretty close, and Div 4 actually is Ferrari's best chance of getting a title because they're not getting one in the real world of 2026. They had the potential, but unfortunately, Mercedes decided to lock in. They lock in on every other. It's like every other regulation cycle. Mercedes just decides to lock in and get good all of a sudden. But there's a good amount of drivers now who have pit in. The only drivers who have not pit in is our top 4. And one of those has decided to make the pit stop, and that is going to be Aiden Raiden, the number 24 Visa Cash App Racing Bulls Honda, coming into the pits now, swapping to a new set of Pirelli hard tires, and he's back out onto the circuit.
yeah, maybe perhaps going for that undercut because I think it's now the top three still on those medium compound tires that they started with. And I want to guess about now, depending on, of course, the driver and how bad their tire wear is, those mediums would start to slowly fall off. And this is where the hards would start to come into play more. As the sky is looking to keep it dry so far, it's just been very overcast.
And that might just be and that might just honestly just be the thing that's taunting these drivers here a bit. It's just like, is it gonna rain? Is it not gonna rain? And yeah, I mean, I'm sure they got the telemetry, they got their weather apps that they're constantly trying to update. As Fat Cat's gonna be the first one into the pits in the Red Bull garage, and will he come out ahead of Flubber? The answer is no. Flubber did get the undercut onto the. Oh, actually, Fat Cat's dropped several positions. That is what pitting under a VSC will do for you, as he is now rejoined in P8. So P8
Oof.
for the Red Bull. We'll see if he can start making up these positions.
Yep, as the field now has very much broken up from that very nice little train we had going for quite a lot of the race until the drivers decided to get onto a fresh set of rubber, making sure to, of course, switch the tyre compounds. Because you need to run at least 2 different compounds, unless, of course, it is wet and it is inters or wet tyres. Because it's not like they're not going to make you run a set of slicks in the rain. That is a recipe for disaster.
Yep. You can also think back to Canada 2024 when Ferrari opted in for that kind of strategy. As now everybody has made their pit stops, so we'll see this order shake up a bit. Flubber now into the lead as Pop Top makes a good move on to M John for P9. So now it is a Sauber 1-2 here. One of them has a penalty though, so we'll see just how the offset on tires plays out. Everybody is on a singular set of hard tires. So what did they make these go to the end, or what did they go for the 2-stop? My money's on the latter. So um, with 15 drivers remaining here in the session, we're gonna see how it all plays out.
Went sideways. Went sideways and drifted through the gravel. Not quite sure what happened. I just saw a car go sideways, clicked back on it. It was Pop Top Bongo having a nice little adventure into the gravel, but doesn't seem to have damaged himself in any way. As I was going to say, you've got a 1-2 kick, 3-4 Williams, a random Ferrari in P5, and then the Red Bulls being in the next 2 positions.
As they're both trying to chase down Kenworth here at the moment. I mean, just riding on board now with the Ferrari of Kenworth. Ferrari is, I think, another team running a full reserve lineup here tonight. So Kenworth is going to try to just hold it on here. Oh, he's binned it! He has binned it! I spoke too soon. I think he got into contact with Andre. He is in the wall.
Oh, and Andre's out.
Yeah, they both binned it. Yeah, they both binned it in the same section. Detective work coming in here. I think they both just kind of wheel hooked, and that was that. Safety car out.
I was on board with that Ferrari, and then likewise. I looked down, stopped for 5 seconds to have a drink of not of water, a drink, and I just see it. So you bet I have clipped that, and I will rewatch that post race, as it's unfortunate that all of the cars have just completed their pit stops. If anyone haven't, they would be very happy. Unfortunately, the safety car comes at one of the worst times.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a. I think this is gonna be a free pit stop for pretty much everybody. As Flubber decides to make the call. Yeah, I think everybody's just gonna. Well, actually, some of the people who pitted early on won't, but we'll see. Once
Oh,
again, this has just worked out so well for about half the grid. Um, so the only way that I see that like Fat Cat, McJimmy, and Aiden really kind of work with this one is if they try to make those tires go to the end, which we're exactly at half race distance. So that's gonna be a bit easier said than done, but still very much possible.
yeah, and as now we wait for that grid back up. So we just got to a nice spread out grid, and nope, we're gonna have a nice, hopefully bunched up grid here for the restart.
Yeah, it's gonna be particularly interesting to see just how this restart goes. Cause hang on, I am seeing some very interesting tire choices here. Vettel on the soft compound. Hmm.
And what is Alpine cooking, or is it an attempt for the fastest lap or something like that? A very interesting choice by Vettel.
Very interesting indeed. I'll be I'll be curious on. I mean, there's no way you're gonna get softs to the end on this race. I'm gonna just say that right here, right now. JDI is in the pits, one of our championship protagonists. I think he's coming to serve that 10 second. Well, no, he just put it in for a set of medium. So is he going on a set of hards? Yeah. So he did a
Oh,
pit stop
Vettel is
earlier.
back in the pit. I think that could have been also a misclick by Vettel because he went around once and then straight back in to put on a hard set of rubber.
So here's the interesting thing, right? Is JDI, I think he did the first stop to service 10 second. So I mean that's kind of a smart play. But then he came back into the pits and he got put on a old set of hard tires. So he got thrown onto a 6 lap
Oh,
old set of hard tires. So I think he's running out of his tire allocation here. And
mm.
that championship is starting to slip away here from JDI. As it sits right now, I think JDI would get dropped from the championship contention. I think. I
And
could be wrong, but I think.
that is unfortunate to have a fight brought all the way to the end as the safety car is in fact in this lap.
So as it sits right now, JDI is currently he's at the edge of that scalpel. So he is 9 points back from the championship leader, and if he's at 25 or more, or sorry, if he's at 27 or more, then he'll be dropped out. But here we go,
When
Fat
is
Cat gonna lead us to green. And we are back racing here in the Netherlands. And we're ready to see Pop Bongo really trying to get punchy here in our Mercedes, trying to send it around the outside of Swift. Oh, there's already a caution. I think that might just be a UI bug, maybe. Or maybe it's the fact that everybody's so tight going through turn 3. And that's a Mercedes getting snapped around. Oh, in more contact. There really wasn't much anything to do. And look at that from JDI. That's going to be a illegal overtake. You have to get a spot back. He spun it. JDI has spun it into the gravel coming out of turn 5. I want to say that is. Oh, me, oh, my. Drama unfolding here.
drama?
I said drama, not karma. Yeah, drama unfolding here for the Salbers. More positions are being traded here. Coming through, and yeah, that was right off the edge of. Sorry, that was actually turn 7. Right off the edge of turn 7 was where he kind of spun it at. I think he's losing it right on turn 6, which has a name I am not even going to remotely try to pronounce.
As we had a very interesting safety car restart. They've kept it interesting, but also at the same time kept it clean. 1 second. Oh, never mind. That person has DNF'd. No need to panic about getting them back in again, as the top 3 have seemingly run away after the safety car restart. And I've just noticed it's a Red Bull 1-2, then their sister team, Sugar-Free Red Bull, V-Carb, Visa Cash Up, whatever you want to call the team, in P3 and P4 for the time being.
Visa Cash App, Racing Bulls, AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso, Minardi, whatever you want to call them. That, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that it's practically a Red Bull 1, 2, 3, and 4, much to the chagrin of the real life McLaren team principal, or not team principal, CEO of Zach Brown, who's been protesting that Red Bull owning 2 teams, as Katusha is going to go to try to kind of spoil the Red Bull party here, as he's got DRS, Fat Cat, and McJeremy do trade positions here, as it's still going to be a Red Bull 1-2, sister team 3-4. But I think that might not last for much longer, as we see everybody right behind getting really pushy. Oh, a front brake lockup for Flubber. Almost pretty much just ruins his race here. And JDI, I think his championship chances are slipping away. I think he might get dropped out of championship contention here tonight. So, ooh. Interviews are going to be spicy. Interviews are going to be fun tonight, especially if this remains the way it is, because three title rivals, the top 3 in the Drivers' Championship, are all on the podium. So this could be a very fun prospect here, as we are now 2/3 of the way through this Dutch Grand Prix. Fat Cat's going to try to close in onto his teammate, but they're both, I think, mostly just trying to work to get away from Aiden, Raiden, and Swift. But look at, I still got to keep an eye on Katusha here. Katusha is just really closing in on the V-Carb with Swift. Is he going to make the dive on the inside? Nope, he thought about it. The gears were turning in his brain. He considered it, but decided, you know what? There'll be a better overtaking opportunity somewhere else.
Yeah, and of course, cars going too wide always jump scare me a bit, but bad timing is, I'm pretty sure I had a clap of thunder right as cars were going too wide into a corner, so getting double jump scared here tonight. And I could have seen a piece of carbon fiber go flying towards the back of the grid, but I could have also just been seeing someone perhaps go onto the grass and kick up a bit of dust, as they've sort of settled in, except for the JDI sitting way at the back, who spun it into that gravel on that safety car restart.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate, because he's had such a strong season. I mean, considering where it was, P5 in the championship, only 9 points behind the drivers' championship lead coming into the penultimate round of the season. It's a really strong season. As we're going to take a look at the positional changes here. So the Vettel has actually made the most positions. He's up 7 positions. 3 drivers have made up 6 positions, being Swift, Katusha, and the driver we're currently on board with of Ryan Adair. So they have all moved up quite a bit here. The driver who has moved the furthest backwards, aside from Zombie, is JDI, who's dropped down 7 positions. So unfortunate there for the Sauber, one of our championship protagonists, whose time this season might, or in the championship picture anyway, might be coming to an end. He might get relegated to a side character in this championship battle, as now we are actually officially 2/3 of the way through the Grand Prix. I think that was a bit of lag there from Swift trying to get one onto Katusha.
And apparently, according to Mars, who always gives that insider info, Ryan needs to box again as his tyres might not make it all the way till the end of the race. He's currently sitting in a very happy P7, so he will try and take the tyres, although they are medium, so I don't think they will make it, unfortunately, all the way till the end.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some crazy things in terms of tire management. I mean, it's possible. On the likelihood scale, not very high, but it is still physically possible. Although they could be at 80%, and at that point, you're better off just making the pit stop to avoid a puncture. So, yeah, it's doable, just not likely. As Flubber is going to go ahead and try to kind of close in here. He wants to try to at least sweeten the mood a bit for this hour because I know JDI. It's probably one of the things that's in his mind right now. Is like, well, that's my championship over. But yeah, it's been a really tricky race for some of these drivers. Some more than others. As Kadiusha is probably thinking, I just need to get past this guy at some point, please. He's been he's probably tired of saying Pink, even though Pink is a good portion of his car.
Yeah, the sort of the top three now, you can start to see that gap on that track map starting to form. And the main group has sort of split into three smaller groups, but the action is still very tight and very punchy. So it looks like it could be a nice week here at Rush, with the cars being very bunched up and very punchy and fighty.
Yeah, so we got a pretty good weekend here ahead of us here in Rush. We got Div 2 tomorrow night. That should be a fantastic one, as we see now Kiriusha still looking to make any sort of movement, but he's just not been able to really. It's just been a really tough one. As Aiden is Raiden is going to try to, he wants to still be within this championship fight. Fat Cat would overtake him in the standings, I think, at this stage. They would still both be in contention here. But I think there would be at least a positional change. So, Fat Cat now going to go ahead and just still try to... His objective right now, he doesn't need to make an overtake. He just needs to stay in position, really. Just stay within DRS. That's going to be his main thing, really, is just to stay in position. As we're going to see, he's going to go ahead and continue on. Flubber, though, getting really close now to the back of Kadiusha. So I wonder which one's going to have it first. Kadiusha on Swith or Flubber overtaking Kadiusha?
Well, who knows? We could. There's a third option, a through both Hamilton moment on the pair of them. If they both have a bad corner, that kit could zoom right past them into P4. So there's like three options that could happen, or they could all stay nicely tucked in behind each other as we're now got less than 10 laps of racing as the field has now sort of settled out after the restart.
Oh, your prediction just about came true there, Phoenix. Flubber up the inside. He almost had both positions. Swith dropping 2 spots here, almost a third to Ryan, who is on those fresher mediums, but those mediums are going to start falling away here pretty soon. As Ryan now tries to line it up onto his stablemate of FST Swith. So they're going to go ahead and continue on, but now you're at a part of the track where the dirty air might start to kick in, where it will be a bit trickier to follow the car ahead. The Red Bulls are side by side coming in to turn 9, and it is McJammy still in the lead, but the 2 Red Bulls, they are fighting. Red Bull rules apply. They are going to fight it out, sending it up the inside. Outside picking up the inside, but look at Aiden Raiden trying to get right into the mix here. He is trying. He sees the 2 Red Bulls, and he just hit the jackpot. Oh, look at it. We are doing IndyCar. Welcome to the Zandvoort 500 as Fat Cat retakes the lead, but McJammy, he's going to try for it. He's gonna wait. Oh, but look at Aiden. Aiden is gonna be this factor here. He is gonna be the X factor at this stage of the race. Oh, but look at him. He is on the oldest. He's on the oldest tires out of the three musketeers. But man, is he is right there on the cusp. But look at Keniusha though. Keniusha's right there. He gets so close to the back of the V car, and everything is kicking off here. We like this pot was already boiling as it sits, and we just cranked up the temperature.
Yeah, and they will start pushing as they're coming into the final stages of the race, and you can't really have a chance to even blink, and you could miss something entirely. As they've now started to group up again, so they seem to spread out and group up quite frequently, as they sort of simmered down for the time being for the top three. Aiden, for a minute there, I thought he had I thought we had another through goes Hamilton moment, as Jamie does get swap positions with Fat Cat and gets P1 for now.
Yeah, there's no way of telling how this race is gonna end. A Red Bull trio is likely at this stage, but I mean with Fat Cat, I mean we could see a Spain 2016 moment between the Red Bulls as Fat Cat gets to move up the inside coming through turn 7, and as they make their way through box 9, this is gonna be a good scrap here. You love to see it. The gloves are off. The teammates are scrapping. They are throwing hands, throwing wheels, well, no one's throwing end plate yet, but I wouldn't doubt it at this stage of the race, this stage of the championship even. So, McJammy trying to get a Div 1 title. Fat Cat also looking for the Div 1 title. Aiden is Raiden. All three of these drivers in the front want this Div 1 title, and they are going to fight like they are the last people on this planet. McJammy now trying to line up a pass. He's got the DRS. He's got it done. But, man, I still think if there's going to be anybody that's going to upset this order, it's going to be Aiden Israden. But kudos to Katiusha for reserving up tonight and already challenging for a podium here in Div 1.
Yeah, and I'm very well acquainted with different divs, but I am getting there with Div 1. I don't normally do commentary, so I don't pay all too much attention. These cars are getting very, very punchy. With McJamie starting to run away, but as we know, and we've seen, that gap can close very, very quick, like in like a drop of the pin, as Aiden is rating is still being ever present in the back of Fat Cat mirrors, but he does also have Katusha in his mirrors to worry about as well, and Katusha's got Flubber in his mirrors to worry about as well. So the top, I think 3, 4, and 5 are all right up in each other's mirrors in case if someone makes a mistake, that will be their race over, and they're ready and waiting to pounce on that opportunity.
As we now enter the final 5 laps of the Dutch Grand Prix, and this is going to be a very tense one. Free racing is instructed from the Red Bulls, I am hearing, but with the extra comment of it is worrying, and yeah, I could understand. If you're the Red Bull TP, you're probably gonna have a full head of gray hair by the time this race is done. I can just tell you that. I know I certainly would if I was Red Bull TP. Just like sitting there, bated breath, just watching as your drivers just beat the daylights out of each other, trying to get a win, especially when they're that close in the Drivers' Championship. And you are just kind of sitting there like, please don't crash, please don't crash, please don't crash, please do not
crash.
Do not touch. Do not touch.
I think we could have had a bit. Do not touch your teammate, any other cars. Keep keep your wheels within inside the white lines. Don't get any warnings. Don't go for off trips into the gravel or the walls. Just keep it clean. And I think they'll probably told to keep on maybe switching positions. But then basically you've opened up the floodgate to go do whatever. Just keep it within inside the white lines. Basically, as Jamie is still trying to fly away from Fat Cat, who's trying to chase him down, but may not have enough time. But things can change very, very quickly as most of the field has gotten like a good distance. But as I say that, you've got Flubber right up the back of Katusha looking to make a move. Doesn't get one obviously through the chicane, but will get DRS down the main straight. You see that they could perhaps make a move, but I just said they're not very close to each other, and then I find lots of people. So Aiden's rating did drop out of DRS, but did obviously go through that detection point, which is a long way before the DRS starts, but will get DRS and is barely in DRS range at the moment, with only a few laps to go.
He is on older tires compared to the front two here at the moment. And at this stage, JDI will be, I think JDI and Pop Top will both be dropped out of championship contention. And then it'll just be the three Red Bull drivers battling up for this championship. Aiden's Red has been dropped out of DRS range. And I think the big thing here is that we just don't want a Spain 2016 moment. His Pop Top has gone a lap down now. So, yeah, that's championship over for the Sauber, unfortunately. But these guys just do not want a repeat of Spain 2016, where the two championship favorites of Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton racing for Mercedes binned into each other and took each other out of the race, which actually led to Max Verstappen's first Formula One Grand Prix win in 2016. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this lap off to you, Phoenix, and I'll take the final one.
Yes, we have now got Fat Cat right up, closing that gap to McJamie, so that the Red Bulls are going to get very, very punchy. Aiden's rating has dropped almost 2 seconds off Fat Cat. And then Flubber is behind him. So I think as long as Aiden rating can keep it within the white lines, don't get any penalties, we'll claim that podium position. But the top two are still undecided, as the Red Bulls are flooring it, with one of them trying to catch up, one of them trying to run away. But Fat Cat does get DRS coming into the chicane. We'll get quite close. It's not quite enough, but we'll obviously get DRS down the main straight and going through that banking. Doesn't get caught on the curb, gets DRS, has a very... They have about the same battery. Fat Cat has a slight more, as Fat Cat has overtaken McJamie. Back to you.
Thank you, Phoenix. And it is the final lap of the Dutch Grand Prix. And as it sits here at the moment, Fat Cat will close in the gap to the championship, separating them by only 1 point, 1 or 2 points. And this battle will go down to Silverstone. Aiden Raiden put up a mighty fine effort as Ryan Adair's had a bit of a moment. And he will drop pretty well down the order. He'll drop down to P11 as it sits. But continuing on here, it is going to be Red Bull v Red Bull. Nobody's really been able to touch the Red Bulls here tonight. Red Bull has just been extremely dominant here in the Dutch Grand Prix. One of their pseudo home tracks as they continue on through. Now it's do or die here in the banking. You got to get a good exit. Fat Cat a bit of a snap though, so this might be McJamie's chance to try to take the win here. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but Fat Cat wins the Dutch Grand Prix. Only 0.2 of a second ahead of his teammate. Aiden Rainer will make a full Red Bull podium, and then it'll be Flubber rounding out the top 4, and I'll have to check the mathematics, but I believe we have lost Pop Top Bongo and JDI from the title fight, and then there were three. Red Bull 1 2, V Car
Yep.
P3, and that is your first of 5 Dutch Grand Prix done and dusted.
Yeah, as McJammy did have a little bit of slide over that line, and I thought he was going to lose it, as if they probably had about, I want to say, 10 more meters of track or so, it would have been thousandths of a second separating the two Red Bull drivers here.
Very good stuff here as the podium celebrations will go live here. Very good stuff from all the Red Bull affiliated drivers, making it pretty much a full Red Bull podium. So as the celebration goes on, here are your superlatives here on the day. Driving today does go to Katusha. Fastest Life goes to JDI, and then M. John being the cleanest driver. So here are your results at the end of the Dutch Grand Prix. After 36 laps, it is Fat Cat ahead of McJeremy. Aines Raiden, Flubber, Katiusha, Swith, Dito, Vettel, Zax, M. John, Pop Top, Ryan Adair, JDI being the last of the finishers a lap down, and then everybody who was retired was Andre, Kenworth, and Zombie rounding out the field. So we're going to go ahead and kick off interviews here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this quick graphic change. There we go. That's more like it.
Oh,
So now we're going to go ahead and
uh,
get
oh,
ready for interviews. But Phoenix, go ahead and give us your summary of that chaotic Dutch Grand Prix.
chaos, I want to say. We had action at the start. We had thrills, spills, cars crashing into each other. We had a safety car. We had a chaotic safety car restart. We had a theoretic. We could have 2 out of our top 5 in contention being dropped out of championship contention. And once the Red Bulls got the all clear, free racing, do what you want, it got very, very, very punchy for those last few podium places.
Yeah, I mean, exactly right on that. So we're going to see if we can get our interviewees in, our 3 podium sitters, and then our driver of the day. So it is going to be Aiden Raiden, Fat Cat, Meowsy, aka McJeremy, and then also Katusha for being driver of the day. So I think we're gonna get at least 3 of them. Um, so we got okay. I think we
Got
might
one.
actually get all 4. So we shall see. But Phoenix, I'm gonna go and let
Yeah.
you take the first interview away with our podium sitter of Aiden Raiden. Over to you.
Hi, how did you enjoy, I want to say, that very, very chaotic Dutch Grand Prix?
Yeah, it was a tough one, um, especially with the Red Bulls. They're doing some crazy tire saving. Can't expect it because they're going so slow throughout the race. So yeah, I didn't really want to overtake them because I knew they could just drive off instantly. Um, so yeah, I just kind of kept P3. Bit of threat from the 2-stop guys, but thankfully they didn't get close enough. Yeah, nothing too much.
Yeah. And with the podium fight contention being brought all the way to Silverstone, how are you looking forward to what will be a very punchy final week of season 10 here at Rush?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think uh, yeah, I don't think I get P1 or P2 in championship unless the other guys don't show up. Hoping for a good P3 in the Drivers' Championship. Be happy about.
Yeah. And I will pass you over to Patrick if he has any further questions or comments.
All right, Aiden, you're still well within this championship fight, and do you think you'll be able to take it in Silverstone next week?
Very unlikely. These 2 Red Bulls are another world. of the level. Yeah, I probably can't take it to them. They're, whatever they do, it's probably the best strategy. They know what they're doing. They have the strategies, teamwork. Probably very unlikely.
So overall, how would you? I mean, it's the final round next week in Britain, Great Britain. How would you rate your season overall here? Because I believe this is actually your first season in Div One, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's my second season.
Second, gotcha.
Which yeah, P3 in my second season I'm pretty happy about, especially with how poorly my first 3 rounds with no points went. Very happy to be on the podium.
All right, last question before I go ahead and let you go. Is there anybody you'd like to give a special thanks or a shout out to here tonight?
Probably Symphonic and Swift. Very good engineering where all the tile were, and obviously Swift done a great race from P10 to P6. I think it was almost puncher territory. It was. So he done a great race there. Definitely held the guys behind me, and held me at bay, which definitely helped me a lot.
All right, well, congratulations on the podium and best of luck to you in Silverstone next week.
Thank you. See ya.
All right, and now we're going to jump off the podium for a quick second and jump on board with our driver of the day, Katusha. So, Katusha, I mean, you reserved up tonight and you were pretty much within touching distance of a podium. How does that feel?
Uh, I think it feels great, especially after a bad quality of P11. So yeah, same as Austria, just fought back and hope for a good result.
Now, when you do your main divisional race later on in this week, do you think that was a good motivation booster? And maybe does this put you in contention for a race win here this week?
I'm D1. I'm stuck D1. I can't race D2.
I see. Well, in that case, is there anyone you'd like to give a special thanks or a shout out to before I pass you over to Phoenix?
I'll give a shout out to Flubber because last time we raced the Netherlands, I took him out. So great that our battle went much better this time.
All right, congratulations on driving today, and I'll pass you over to Phoenix if they have any other questions or comments.
I'm gonna say I don't, but it's a very nice race from you here this evening. And are you looking forward to the final round here at season 10? I almost said season 11. We haven't got quite that far.
As long as it doesn't rain, I hope there will be enough very good race as well.
Yeah, because Silverstone's weather is known for being a bit bipolar.
All right, now we're going to go back on to the podium here. And we're going to go ahead and talk to the still current championship leader of Meowsy, aka McJammy. Now, it is a three-way title fight going into the final round at Silverstone. The championship lead is only now about 1 or 2 points. How do you feel going into the final round here?
Fat Cat has the advantage by 3 points now with his win, so I mean, I really know, I guess. It'll be quite close, especially around the track like Silverstone. Anything can really happen. I can definitely imagine that it's going to be rather dull for the first half of the race, and it's going to be all decided at the end on the final lap. So it will make a very interesting race, definitely.
Is Silverstone a track that you would feel confident at normally going into, or especially coming into the season finale?
No, it's not my best track. Especially Sector 1, I'm genuinely horrific. I bet people in Div 3 would be faster than me around there. So that's something I'm going to have to be working on.
All right, and just one last question before I pass you over to Phoenix. Is there anyone you'd like to give a special thanks or a shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, Fat Cat for me rage baiting him during the race. That was pretty funny. And to my uncle who sadly passed away this morning, which
Uh,
I tried to get the win for him, but didn't work. So I'll get the title instead. I'm sure that'll be better.
well, I am truly sorry for your loss there.
Thank you.
All right, without any further ado, congratulations on the podium. Best of luck to you next week in your championship fight, and I will pass you over to Phoenix.
Yeah, seems like you had a very nice battle or rage baiting Fat Cat during the race. How was it when you're quote unquote told to what we got told as free racing? Like you were let off the leash to battle it out in the final laps.
Yeah, it was fine. I guess we were mostly, well, I say mostly, we were significantly tie saving from lap one basically, and it was only the final 5 laps of each stint where we decided to flat out push. So that was pretty fun. So yeah, apart from that, it was kind of lackluster, and whenever we were side by side, it was just to give the other driver like clean air so we can stay behind them. So, but yeah, I did enjoy the wheel to wheel racing, although. I tried making sure that Fat Cat had the lead entering Sector 1 in the final lap so I can get him down the small back straight, although I wasn't close enough. I made an error myself, so yeah, that kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah, but well done on your podium here this evening.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and talk to the race winner here and now championship leader of Fat Cat. Now, Fat Cat, I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked your teammate tonight. How confident are you feeling that you can take this title here? With 3 drivers left in contention for the final round at Silverstone.
We'll see.
Is Silverstone a track that you feel confident at, or is Sector 1 a bit of a nightmare fuel for you, like it is your teammate?
It's alright.
All right, man, a few words. Well, is there anyone you'd like to give a special thanks or a shout out to here tonight?
Meowsy. Yeah. Just great racing, really.
All right, well, congratulations on the win. Best of luck into the title decider next week, and I'll pass you over to Phoenix.
I don't have any questions for you, but a very nice one. Podium took it all the way down to the final laps.
Alrighty-o, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to go to wrap things up here in Div 1. One more round to go in the championship. 3 drivers in contention for the championship coming into the final round at Silverstone. Only 3 points separating our top 2 in the championship. Whoever wins out between those two will likely become the champion in Div 1. Phoenix, how's that race from your perspective here in the comms box for the first time in Div 1?
Very punchy, and I found out by reading a different div, but you know how Ryan spun it on the last lap?
Mm-hmm.
His mediums went kaboom.
They punctured.
They did, in fact, puncture on the last lap of the race. That threw even more chaos into it. And it was a very interesting race, start to finish, a lot of action, and it was very nice to see.
Yeah, Zandvoort is a really fun track to watch. It's a really tricky track to get overtakes on, but the drivers always get so close to making these overtakes that it makes it a really good watch. But that is going to go ahead and wrap it up here in Division Number 1. Like I said earlier, there is 3 drivers still within championship contention. going all the way to the end. On behalf of our sponsors, a massive thank you to Sim Racing Center, SimLab, and Pagny and Advanced Simulation. I also want to give a massive shout out to you guys in the Twitch chat. You guys have been here for all 17 rounds so far, and hopefully you guys will all join us once again in Silverstone for the season finale here in Div 1. Tomorrow night, Div 2 kicks off, and their championship battle is still going to be pretty red hot, so you guys definitely don't want to miss that one. But on behalf of Phoenix, my name has been Patrick Coleman, aka Ruckus, and we have been your hosts and commentators for tonight's Grand Prix action. Stay hydrated, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.